My later work is really about assessing intent with a structured framework. I think we need to step back from belief systems, hopeful or fearful interpretations, and lay out the spectrum of possibilities, right? From curiosity on the left, salvation and assistance even further on the left, to transaction, integration on the right, or even something more hostile. And in the end, intent is all about human outcomes. We can't know their consciousness. The project in my mind right now is not, let's set out to understand what they're like, who they are, how they think, how they cognate. That's impossible in my perspective. But we can assess the real human outcomes that stem from the hazard and the risk and the possible threat of a non-human factor acting upon, like a forcing, an environmental or evolutionary forcing upon humanity at a historically unprecedented time. And there are significant signals and indicators in the history of the phenomenon that give very good anchors for assessing intent and for going from possibilities to probabilities and ultimately making a starting assessment, which informs the research pathway, which is the other part of my work in supporting the Human Institute, devising an intelligent scientific research and investigatory citizen-led effort to uncover the phenomenon, to disclose it, to interrogate its activity, lest we just be interrogated unknowingly ourselves. So a lot of good work to do there. But in my view, when you look at all that the censored data has given us technologically, when you corroborate that with the geographic, circumstantial, temporal aspects of how the phenomena appears, who it manifests to, and the considerable problem it presents to the international community and to national laws and frameworks that govern territorial sovereignty, these incursions into sensitive sites, and the potential programmatic engagement with civilians in the form of physical NHI-initiated contact, abductions, it builds a picture. It bounds those possibilities into a zone of probabilities. And whether it's a transactional presence, whether it's an integrative or one that wants to integrate with humanity or ultimately replace humanity, I think there are multiple possibilities at play and multiple intents at play, although I don't think it's the rainbow that everyone kind of hopes it is. It's not everything the universe has to offer is going to come all at once now and function harmoniously in our skies and oceans. No. The hostile intent will not tolerate a beneficial actor who themselves would have to arm themselves and militarily confront the hostile actor, which we do not see indications of. So, we have analogs in our own human history to this. The natives of the New World, they looked out on the quay and they saw the ships, different flags, different vessels, and they assumed it's got to be either the angels from the spirit realm, it has to comport to our belief system, or a variety of intentions, and we should work with and collaborate. And it may not be that way. It's not about it's all hostile or it's all beneficial or benevolent. In my mind, it's exosystemic. It's an ecosystem arriving on our shores at a specific 20th century moment in which we have detonated nuclear weapons, we have flashed the universe with technology capability, and we have triggered an engagement event. This is really what this is, and a program to engage humanity over a longitudinal time period. And so we need to step back and really look at the human project of getting our act together to diplomatically engage now and in the future, to manage the NHI presence internationally and coordinate responses, lest we divide and conquer ourselves over this issue. And that's where the reframing of disclosure as fundamentally belonging to the human species, being one that should, I think, be framed in first principles, to Carl Nell's point, with a naturalistic framework, a science-informed, data-driven framework. And with that, we go out into the field and collect evidence on the phenomenon. We go out to where it is interacting with people. That's the key missing data set that would be necessary to inform decision makers. But just to kind of wrap up here, I want to have Richard speak as well. In my view, there absolutely is an adversarial actor in our world. There is a human engagement program underway, and that's not the whole story. But if that is true, that should marshal our human response above all other possibilities initially, because we may wake up in 30 years and find that we are not the human beings we used to be. Genetic interventions, cultural influence, right? Social engineering, all of these could be at play in a subversive sense. And, NHI is operating in a strategic silence, in a state of non-disclosure. They're operating covertly and selectively with military defense organizations internationally, which are already in competition. And that to me is another one of a number of alarming signals that should just command us to take a cautionary response. And we've got to get out there and use the best of science, research, and investigation to do reconnaissance, as I call it, on behalf of the human interest and not just national interests.
Yeah, that's a profound way to put it, Reed, that we've triggered an interaction event. I mean,
right.
I think.
Right. And so, intelligence indicates intent. Intentful engagement indicates a program. And so what is their program? We talk about the legacy human program. What about the non-human program? We do not query that nearly as much as we should. And in my view, disclosure. How do we get disclosure moving? If we recenter the controversy not on human actors, human governments, but on the non-human presence itself, that allows the human actors a way to rapidly and catastrophically disclose their involvements, which is what is keeping this back in part.
So thank you.